weekend of January 18th and 19th, Father Adam gave the whole parish a homework assignment. We were to read the first letter to the Corinthians. Now, if you're 9 years old or younger, that would be a really difficult assignment. So you're excused from today's pop quiz. Pop quiz? Quiz? Who said we're going to have a quiz? Don't worry, relax. But if you are older than 9 years old, I want you to take out a piece of paper. It can be really small. There's only 8 questions. And we're going to see whether the older students or their parents really did their homework. So, here's the quiz. Number 1, who wrote the first letter to the Corinthians? Bum, 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 bum. Okay, I bet you got it right. It was St. Paul. I'll give you the answers right away. Number 2, what was the main problem for the church in Corinth? And that's why they had to receive this letter. If you wrote something like, they were not united, there was division, then you're right. But I'll also accept if you wrote anything about maybe they were trying to worship false gods like idolatry. Number 3, Paul talks about running a race. To what place are the Corinthians running? I'll give you a hint. It's the same place to which all of us are running. Did you write heaven? If so, you're right. Number 4, we read about Jesus instituting the Eucharist in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. There's one other place in the scriptures where we read, this is my body and this is my blood of the new covenant. In which book of the Bible can you read again the institution of the Eucharist? Answer, the first letter to the Corinthians. Of course, that's what we're talking about today. Number 5, Paul says there's a great variety of spiritual gifts like knowledge, wisdom, healing, miracles, prophecy, but all of these have one thing in common. What is that one thing in common? Answer, they are all gifts of the Holy Spirit. Number 6, Paul says the church is like a body. If one part of the body suffers, what else suffers? Answer, everything else, everyone else. Number 7, there's a very beautiful section in chapter 13 of 1 Corinthians that's often used at weddings. It says there's a virtue that is patient, kind, never envious, never resentful. What virtue is it? I bet you guessed it. It's the virtue of love. And number 8 and last, how do we know we will rise from the dead? In this epistle we read, because Christ rose from the dead, we know that we too will rise from the dead. But if you had an answer something like, Jesus Christ said so, that's a great answer too. So I hope you did very well in this quiz. Maybe some of you might need to brush up on reading that first epistle of St. Paul to the Corinthians. But anyhow, happy school week.